another huge day of games coming your way. They want the initiation right away, one after the other from off of the screens. There goes Boy. They got everyone almost knocked up. It wasn't enough for Kurt.
You're not going to stop the Pantheon. Pantheon got it! Meteos takes the Dragon. Flat yellow feet. Oh, the hook lands afterwards! Whoa. Well played, Daydreamin'.
Welcome to Day 2, Week 10 of the North American League Championship Series. We're beaming to you live in front of this fired-up audience from our LCS home in Los Angeles, California. Hey everyone, I'm Ribbing to Biz in the third, and with me is Sam, Kobe, Hart, and Kensler for another awesome day of League. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, ready to get into it. Really.
Better be feeling great. Yesterday we had some awesome games, and we're going to get right into the news following into today. It gets lonely at the top, and after 8 weeks alone in first place, Team Solo Mid now has the company of Cloud9.
Yeah, after TSM's huge upset loss to CLG in a 37-minute game, the door was left open. And Cloud9 moved in and secured the first place tie by defeating Curse. This means that Cloud9's record of performing, 25-3 is going to be safe for a little bit longer. But beyond the standings, this win was a huge boost of confidence for CLG as they prepare for Super Week and playoffs.
Well, CLG isn't and wasn't the only team that had an important win yesterday. Coast managed to snap a 6-game slump and put themselves just 1 game back from 5th place Curse.
Yeah, they'll be looking to overtake Curse and avoid the summer relegation. The win was a much-needed morale boost as well and gave Coast a 2-game buffer between 7th place XDG and Evil Geniuses.
And with EG hoping to close a gap when they face off against Coast in our 4th match today, and they'll be able to play with the whole team back together.
Yep, after 3 weeks away, Scumbag Crepo is back in North America, and he's returning to active duty as support. We're going to have to see if his time apart, though, has affected the team's coordination.
Indeed, but EG isn't the only team with a roster change this week. Dignitas won in Golden Glue's NALCS debut.
They pulled out a hard-fought victory in a 51-minute game against Evil Geniuses, and today Golden Glue is going to face another challenge as they tackle High and Cloud9.
That's right, and Dignitas, a game that had you all at home, a Twitter. Let's check in with the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Our first highlight features Thresh Express, and it seats 2. Kurisu Tenchi says, the hook, the fly, the lantern, the distortion, the hype, oh god. Hashtag LCS Big Plays from Dignitas versus Evil Geniuses. Here's your number 2. Kiwi Kid, the last 2 shots when he shields himself up. There's the box. Ooh. Oh, the long way. Get the lantern. Breaks it, Paul Melter. No way he's going to have the damage. They cannot get the chase on a cruiser. He gets the double distortion follow-up, and they do find the kill.
Ooh, I'm going too far. Please, somebody help. He got it.
I'll figure out what to do. Did it.
All right, so the next tweet features a plagued rat being dealt a quick death. At VThy Afran says, Dexter playing pinball with Wild Turtle's Twitch, kicking him into double lift to finish him off. What a play from CLG versus TSM. Here's your number 1.
He actually goes down to the hands of Dexter, and TSM is still trying to find where the rest of the team is. A double kill! Beautiful play from Dexter and double lift, and they're going to keep going. A very low special. It's simply amazing the communication and coordination they have with Dexter after just a few weeks on the team.
And like only a couple of seconds before that, he had killed LeBlanc by flashing into range for a Q. So many good plays from Dexter that game.
So good indeed, and more to come. So let's take a look at the standings brought to you by the new season of Game of Thrones. And first, we've got Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid, both with 19 wins and 4 losses.
Then in second, it's CLG with some breathing room, with Dignitas being 5 games back in 4th place. And in 5th, it's Curse with 9 wins and 14 losses.
And on their heels, it's Team Coast in 6th place, and tied for 7th, it's Evil Geniuses and XDG Gaming. We'll see how the table changes after our 4 games today. That's going to be starting with the red hot CLG versus XDG.
Then Curse takes to the Rift against TSM, followed by Cloud9 taking on the new lineup of Dignitas.
And in our final LCS game of the day, it's Evil Geniuses versus Coast. But be sure to stick around for the North American Challenger Series Finals as LMQ takes on Cloud9 Tempest. Before we get to the games and get them underway, head over to lolesports.com, lock in your votes for who you think will win today's matches. Click on schedule, select week 10, and give a thumbs up to the teams you think will come out on top.
Then stick around and check out our in-depth player interviews and the team statistics, or you can rewatch any of our games from this season and relive the twists and turns of everything.
Also there, you can reserve your seat in our studio audience to attend an upcoming game day taping and see all the action up close and personal. Select tickets for all the details. The LCS is just a click away. For now, we're going to send it over to Freak and Jat at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the desk. I'm David Freak Turley. Along with me is Joshua Jat Leesman. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. Freak, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. It's fun to be here. Sunday, going to have a lot of great games, plus the Challenger Finals. So when players go into a game, they're going to be pumped up and prepared to mercilessly destroy their enemies, because that's how you're supposed to do it on the Rift.
Yeah, but outside the game, the LCS pros have cultivated the responsibility to their fans, a culture of mutual respect amongst the teams and players.
I think sportsmanship is a really important aspect of any game.
You always want to maintain a professional atmosphere, especially in something as so new and up and coming as esports.
Well, as a professional, you have a lot higher standards set for yourself than for the average League of Legends player, so it's always good to be a good role model.
A GG in the game is just a virtual handshake, It's just great game, well played.
I always say GG at the end of the game, whether it's in-game or as a handshake after.
Every game you should be trying your best, so even if you get destroyed, it was still a good game.
I come from a background where I played baseball since I was a little kid, so I've always shook the team's hand after every game. That's just kind of the thing. It's kind of cool that it happens in LCS now too, because I'm used to it. It's yeah, that makes sense.
Nobody gets to feel bad after the game because no one's saying GG or anything. Everyone's being friendly, no one's being negative.
I think sportsmanship is important because you're able to go outside of the game. Say one team wins over the other team, you're able to shake their hand, still smile, still be friends, still have a good time.
And we're going to be joined here by some longtime friends, TSM's Dyrus and Curse's Voyboy. Guys, welcome to the desk. So, of course, you guys have played against each other for a whole long time. What's your relationship like off the game?
Yeah, me and Darius have both been playing since pre-season 1. We've been in the competitive scene for as long as pretty much anyone, and yeah, we've always been on pretty good terms, I would say.
Yeah, for the most part, except when I was in troll and beta, I used to trash talk a lot, and then I got ratted on, and then I realized, oh wow, I feel kind of bad now, so I kind of toned it down, and I'm trying to be a nice guy now, I guess.
Good guy Dyrus is coming out for the last couple of years. All right, so then let's kind of talk about then sort of what you guys have been doing then with these games. So coming into it, right, decided to be sort of more sportsman-like and all this. Talk to me about some sort of key stories you have of anyone who impressed you with something really nice. You DC, they didn't kill you, something like that.
There's been a time where the enemy team DC'd and I just AFK'd the entire game, so it was 4-on-4. But as for being nice to me, there's a couple stories, and there's also a couple stories back in beta, but I need some time to think about it.
Voyboy, do you have any sportsman-like moments?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I remember when me and Darius used to stream a lot back last season, I remember at least 2 instances where either he would DC and we were laning versus each other, and I would just AFK or sit in Fountain, and then he did the same exact thing for me, so it's just kind of back and forth. Do you remember those?
It's happened.
Yeah, it definitely happened.
So sweet. Do you think that's actually what people should do if it's an obvious disconnect, or is there some kind of competitive gamesmanship there where you just go for it?
I think if someone DCs and you want to keep the game fair, then you should just remove yourself from getting any farm or EXP until they come back, which is usually what I've historically thought was should be done, but people have different approaches to it.
They want LP.
They want LP.
LP is the secret motivation.
You ever done one of those fake DCs where you know you're caught, so you just hit stop and hope they leave you alone? You're oh, I don't flash them in Dragon Pit.
That's bad sportsmanship.
But it feels great.
It works because they're trying to kill you, and they're he's DC'd, let's go. And then it oh, wow, that's just karma.
You'll bait and switch. But getting into your game today, you guys actually play against each other here. And Voyboy, just since you've been now on, kind of just looking back, 3 different teams, all against TSM, how has that team kind of evolved over the years in your eyes?
TSM's always just been consistently strong. I think when I was on Dignitas, we usually gave them the biggest run for our money, and at that time we were probably at relatively speaking our strongest point. And then last season or the first split on Curse, we were for a long time pretty dominant, and then TSM still managed to claw their way to the top at the end of that split. And then last season they've been at the top, and this season they're the team to beat. So they've always just been strong. And like today, we're playing against them. We are like 4th, 5th place, and they're just beating everyone. So it's just a game where we're going into it trying to make plays and pull out an upset, basically.
I'm more scared to play against them than CLG.
Wow. And why is that? What does Curse bring to the table?
Because they always bring something out that's unique. Like, they're not afraid to try new things, and if you see something that's OP, most of the time they're the first ones to find it.
So actually then I want to press you then on facing against Curse, because you've obviously fought against Curse for like 3 or 4 seasons now, and they've had a number of lineup changes. Like, can you sort of contrast this Curse to like maybe previous Curses?
So at the start, like, Curse was like at the way back before like the Curse we knew now. Like at the very beginning, before Voyboy, there was like Jackie, everyone else. They were like mid-tier, and then they had lots of swaps, and they're getting really they're getting better players, they're getting better at the game, they're getting better at what they do. And throughout the season, throughout the swaps, like there's a time where they went down and then up, because there's a triple swap between Dignitas, Curse, and CLG. And that's also one of the reasons why TSM was just so dominant, because they had to get used to the roster swaps. But nowadays they have a little bit more like solid lineup where they don't really swap as much. And if they do swap, it's because of it's not exactly because of players underperforming, but because there's just someone better out there. And now it looks like they're finally having like, you know, a solid lineup where I don't think they don't need to switch anyone around right now.
Nice.
Yeah, and Voyboy, just to kind of follow up on that one, now that you guys are kind of racing towards the end of the season, what are you changing anything about your preparation since you're making that race for the final playoff spots?
We're basically just practicing like as we always did, and we're going to each game in not really a different mindset, but I think our roster right now is really solid. Like, we all feel very good about everyone else on the team. We all have confidence in each other, and we've been putting up wins, and we all believe that we can truly be like any team in the LCS right now. And yeah, I think if we had this roster, like we had money from the start of the season, and we just had a lot of time to get used to playing with each other, and we just had like these 8-10 weeks to grow, then I think we'd be a much more solid team right now. But I think like getting Bunny like 2-3 weeks ago, already putting up a lot of wins versus many of the NA teams, and like putting up good fights, I would say, against like Cloud9, CLG, and TSM, relatively speaking. I think that we can definitely grow into a pretty solid team. And assuming we can have a strong finish at the end of the season, go into playoffs, and just stay with our roster, keep playing well, I think we can be a really strong team for the next split.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely looking good. So then kind of speaking about individual players, actually later in the broadcast, we're going to be going over some of the details for all-star voting. And so right now I actually want to ask you guys about our Twitter question today, which is which players would you vote for to represent the North American LCS All-Stars, and why? So Voy, we'll start with you. Your team, any other team, who would you vote for to go to the challenge?
Well, I'm probably most qualified to speak about mid right now, so I would say that Bjergsen has definitely earned the mid lane all-star vote for NA. He just consistently puts out like strong individual performances, and TSM as a whole is a really good team. But when you watch Bjergsen play over the course of the season, you can definitely see like how good he is, and I think that he's probably really standing out right now, and I think he'd probably be able to represent NA really well.
Darius, what are your thoughts? Who would you send to All-Stars?
For top lane, yeah, he's one of the most consistent players. He's been around since Season 2 or Season 1. Like, he's been playing for the longest time. He wasn't out in the spotlight. Now that he's on Cloud9, he can, I don't know, people can really appreciate that he's one of the best top laners. He is the best top laner in NA right now. Like, give him that. If you look at the gold graph, like I saw it on Reddit the other day, most of the gold actually goes to their top lane. So he's kind of like their sleeper carry. Yeah, I'm just going to say balls.
All right, so Darius with balls, Voyboy with Bjergsen it there, and thank you very much for your responses. For those of you at home, you can join the conversation by sending your responses to @LOL Esports. Use the hashtag LCS, then stick around to see if we read your answers on the air.
All right, guys, going to take a quick break, but when we get back, the action gets underway, starting with CLG versus XDG. North American LCS continues right after this.